Hi everyone. So Makeda asked me how I shop at the grocery store. So I'm here in Mackinac and I'm going to show you the best way to approach shopping for healthy and nutritious meals. One of the biggest principles that we can teach you is that you want to eat the outside of the grocery store because that's usually where the freshest ingredients are and the whole ingredients are. So staying away from those inner aisles where we have a lot of bags and boxes and cans and processed foods is the best way that you can build a nice, healthy, nutritious meal. So what we're going to do first is we're going to start off with the meat aisle, which is the best source of protein. So the first thing that we want to start out with when you're shopping in the grocery store and building a really good, nutritious meal is protein sources. And some of the best sources of protein is in the meat section. As you can see here, we've got chicken, we've got lamb, we've got beef, and we've got pork at the end. And what you generally want to keep in mind is you want lean cuts of protein, so you can go with your preference of meat. But I like to say that, try to go with things that don't have skin on it and then don't have the white part, so that's the fat. So stay away from those cuts where it's really visible that you have a lot of fat there. Here's some veal, really big fan of that because this happens to be very lean. One thing I would say to stay away from in the meat section is some of these kind of packaged sorts of meat products where they're processed. They tend to have a lot of additives, a lot of salt, and don't tend to be the best cuts of the meat, and definitely not the leanest. So just choose whatever your favorite protein is, and then we can move down to the vegetables, which are another important source of nutrients for every meal. As you can see, we have fruits here, and some of them have more sugar than others. But more importantly, you just want to make sure you incorporate them in your diet, but don't go an excessive amount. What tends to happen when people are trying to lose weight is that they tend to rely very heavily on fruits because they're full of sugars and they taste great. But just 1 or 2 pieces of fruit a day in your diet is good, and really any of the fruits here would be great additions. So now we go to something that basically are like freebies, which are vegetables. You can have as many vegetables as you want, as many different types. And what we like to say is that because all vegetables are different, they have different micronutrient components, you can really eat the rainbow. So you can eat as many different types of vegetables you want and in as many quantity as you want because they're so low in calories. One of the best things, I think, for adding to any sort of meal is a dark leafy green. This is sumawiki. So grabbing some of this and just kind of sauteing it in a tablespoon of oil, adding it to dinner or lunch is great, and even for breakfast. Okay, so you shouldn't really feel limited here because you can have as much as you want and you can have a diverse range of what's here. Okay, so let's move on. So now we're going to go to some of these inner aisles I've told you to stay away from, just so I can give you a demonstration of why some of these things aren't great to eat. So what we have here is a lot of packaged biscuits, and we also have some packaged cereals and some packaged cookies and all sorts of things that I'm sure taste really delicious. The thing is that a lot of these things tend to be very high in sugar. Even some of these cereals that you think that are actually pretty good for you, or any of the other diet cereals, do have typically high fructose corn syrup in them and some amount of sugar additives and just other sort of processed ingredients. In general, it's always better to just kind of stay away from things that are in boxes or things that are in bags. And if you do that, I guarantee you that you're going to see results and feel slimmer and lighter and better. So I hope you've enjoyed our time at the grocery store. Next time you're here, just keep my tips in mind and I guarantee you